Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another unboxing video. I am your host, Joel. I am one half of the Newlydeads. If you're unfamiliar with who the Newlydeads are, please go to our website at thenewlydeads.com for more information about who we are, what we do, and where to find us. In 2026, our goal is the same as in 2025. We'd like to grow the channel, so please like, share, subscribe, and comment if you have any thoughts or feelings on the videos. A comment and a like definitely help. Share helps as well, and subscription is always nice, but not necessarily required. If you are new, please feel free to do that. If not, that's okay too. We're just glad you're here. If you are returning and you already have done those things, thank you so much. We appreciate the help. So for 2026, I've made some minor changes to the format and to the channel. Nothing major in terms of the content or anything like that is going to change. But for this video, we have 3 titles from the new. We've already got one that we've done on another video from the new Shout Factory purchase of the Golden Princess, I believe it was, line of movies. And I kind of slept on them initially because they were kind of expensive, but the prices have come down a bit, and you shop around, you can find better deals. But I couldn't resist too long because it was seeming like some of this stuff might disappear. For all I know, that probably will never happen, or at least not for a while. Plus, I've wanted to have them in my collection for a while. And these are kind of the quintessential versions of these films. I know that Arrow is also releasing them, and I have picked up one of the titles on Arrow that will be released here sometime in the near future, but I've already pre-ordered that. So we'll get to that one when the time comes. But the first thing we have today is Bullet in the Head from 1990. This is about when 3 close friends escape from Hong Kong to wartime Saigon to start a criminal's life. They all go through a harrowing experience which totally shatters their lives and their friendships forever. This is directed by John Woo, who you may know from Broken Arrow, one of his early American films, as well as Red Cliffs, which is one of his more recent films, relatively speaking. This stars Tony Leung, who was in Infernal Affairs, which you may remember was remade into The Departed in America, which did really well, as did Infernal Affairs overseas. A little bit of trivia here. After the breakup of his partnership with Sue Hark, John Woo was having trouble finding backing for his films. Stories have circulated that Sue, who was one of the most powerful men in Hong Kong cinema, said Woo was hard to work with, and this led to a virtual blacklisting of John Woo. At any rate, Woo financed almost all of the costs of the film out of his own pocket. And just a fun fact here, the total body count in this film is 185. So we have, the nice little branding here of this line of films. On the back, we have the special features information about this. This is a 4K release. We have images from the film. Inside, we have the exact same cover there, including, the fact that it is a 4K Ultra HD release. Inside, we have the Blu-ray, the 4K version, and a disc of special features here. And this is one of the John Woo films I have not seen yet. I don't know how that's escaped me all these years, but I'm a John Woo fan. I've read his book, and I like what he does. I know he's kind of divisive amongst fans as far as kind of the quality of his work, but I like it. Next up, now I have these on DVD that I picked up as imports back in, I want to say, late 90s, maybe. And I've been waiting patiently for a better release to come out. I'm going to probably maintain the other ones that I have on DVD because they have different things on them in some cases. Haven't checked it to see on this particular release, but we have the A Better Tomorrow trilogy. Now, A Better Tomorrow is from 1986. It's about a reforming ex-gangster who tries to reconcile with his estranged policeman brother, but the ties to his former gang are difficult to break. This is directed by John Woo, who did Hard Boiled, which is my favorite action film of all time, which is the one that I'm picking up on Arrow because the one on Shout Factory was not available, and I was afraid it was gone permanently. So I went ahead and was like, I should check it out and see what the differences are. It has since kind of come back in. It's at a pretty high price point, though. So at some point I may pick it up. I don't know. I don't typically double dip like that. But this stars Chow Yun-fat, who was in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. That's what a lot of American fans will know him from. Unless you're a Quentin Tarantino fan, then you probably remember this from his films. So a little bit of trivia here. Even though he is now universally known as an action hero, one of the main reasons John Woo wanted to cast Chow Yun-fat was because he didn't look like one. who Chow Yun-fat is one of my favorite actors. I kind of equate him with, I refer to him as kind of the counterpart to Bruce Willis in the States, but to be honest, he's a lot more than that. So we've also got A Better Tomorrow 2 from 1987, which is about a restaurateur who teams up with a police officer and his ex-con brother to avenge the death of his friend's daughter. Again, directed by John Woo, who did The Killer, which is probably his best-known film. Stars again Chow Yun-fat, who was in Full Contact, which is a Ringo Lam film, which I pre-ordered from this series. A little bit of trivia here. Quentin Tarantino is a fan of this film. In True Romance, who was written by Quentin Tarantino, there's a scene with Christian Slater and Patricia Arquette's characters watching the film on TV. Finally, we have A Better Tomorrow 3, Love and Death in Saigon from 1989. This is about a man who travels from China to Vietnam on the brink of war with America to retrieve his uncle and cousin, but find complications when he falls in love with a female gangster with a dangerous ex. Directed by Sue Hark, who did Knock Off. That was one of his American films. Stars Chow Yun-fat, who was in Tiger on Beat, which is also, I believe, getting released at some point here. I think it actually it's been released before, but I think it's also getting released in this series. But John Woo, director of the first two films in the series, wrote the original screenplay for this installment, but never got to direct the third entry due to having had an artistic difference with producer Sue Hark. Instead, John Woo took his screenplay and made it into A Bullet in the Head, which we just discussed. Hark himself would direct his own version of A Better Tomorrow 3. The film was shot in 1989 as a prequel to the original 1986 film and was set in the 70s in Vietnam before the war intensifies. So here we've got this beautiful cover. Again, you've got that little logo there, got the side, on the back, you've got information about the films, as well as no screenshots in this case because each film gets its own individual disc as I try to get them out. All right, so first up, we have A Better Tomorrow with that infamous scene with Chow Yun-fat lighting a cigarette on with a $100 bill. On the back, you've got some shots from this as well as special features information. Again, 4K release. Inside, you have the two discs that come with this. You've got the Blu-ray and the 4K. Next up, we have A Better Tomorrow 2. And it looks familiar to Reservoir Dogs fans, although people equate Reservoir Dogs with City on Fire more than this, but you can tell that there's some influence there with the suits. Inside, you have, again, two discs, Blu-ray and 4K. And finally, you have A Better Tomorrow 3, Love and Death in Saigon. On the back, you have some shots from the film, including the cover that's on the original DVD that I have, as well as special features information. And inside, this one, you have the Blu-ray, the 4K, and a disc of special features, which I believe covers all three films. So that is the Better Tomorrow trilogy. As I try to put these back in here, I should probably do that after the fact. You don't care about seeing me do that. All right, finally, save the best for last. We have The Killer from 1989. A disillusioned assassin accepts one last hit in hopes of using his earnings to restore the vision of a singer he accidentally blinded. It's a tale as old as time. This is directed by John Woo, who did Better Tomorrow that we just talked about, as well as Face Off. That's probably one of his best-known American films. This stars Chow Yun-fat again, who was in The Replacement Killers, one of his American films that is, I'm a fan of that film. And he was also in Hard Boiled that I mentioned previously. A little bit of trivia here. John Woo improvised all of the action sequences on set with the actors, stuntman, and stunt director. He never used storyboards, partly to prevent his ideas from being stolen, and partly because, according to the DVD commentary, he prefers to work as an artist like a painter. I want to show where my mood takes me. The violence was tough for Chow Yun-fat, who doesn't like violence or guns, and if you notice in the films, he tends to blink when he's shooting, and that is part of the reason why. So on the cover, you have the shot of him there. On the back, you've got the shot of Chow Yun-fat with double guns. There's a great quote about that. I'll maybe throw it up here if I can track it down, which, kind of became a staple of John Woo films as well as Chow Yun-fat. Inside, you have the beautiful cover there. On the back, you have some similar information as well. On the inside, you've got another triple disc here. You've got the Blu-ray, the 4K, and the bonus disc, which you can't not have a bonus disc with this, which incidentally, if you're not familiar, this was recently, John Woo remade this in America. It's also called The Killer. It's available, I believe, on Hulu, if I remember correctly. I haven't watched it yet, but inside you've also got here this nice little booklet, which I don't think there's anything questionable in this. I'm fairly certain because I've seen the film several times, but got some of the trademarks of John Woo, like, lots of candles, doves flying, the gun fu kind of thing going on. Got the man himself. Counterpart in the film. And it just is, the bullet ballet is what they kind of refer to the fight sequences, is because they are very much like a ballet in terms of like, how the violence plays out. And this is a famous scene where a lot of Mexican standoffs in this. I don't know if that's appropriate to say anymore, but that's what they always call it. But where a lot of people are pointing guns at each other and nobody wants to pull the trigger, but everybody wants to pull the trigger. So that is it. There is more to come. I've pre-ordered all the stuff that interests me. And so I know there's more that will be coming in the future. So look forward to that. But that's it. So until next time, remember that tomorrow is not guaranteed. So don't forget to unbox your heart. We'll see you soon.